You know that's where you say but I don't know where you say that how the original application for the board will step down and I don't know if that's true. So I think I probably want to be clear on that. But the bus will come or pass, they never will let them just objectives and everything justified. I can give you my change.
Please stand for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. This meeting is now called to order. The Borough of Seabright, in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, has provided adequate notice of the time, date, and location of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press on January 26, 23. Filed notice with the Borough Clerk, posted notice on the Borough Office, in the Borough Office, and on the Borough website. This meeting is open to the public, and I welcome you all.
Councilman Weaver, Ms. Bills, here. Mr. Cashmore,
Here.
Chairman Cunningham,
Here.
Mr. Julia, Vice Chairman DeSalle,
Yeah.
Mayor Kelly, Mr. Lawrence,
Here.
Mr. Lexstein,
Here.
Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Zalina.
Here. On to the memorialization of the resolution.
What about
Minutes.
minutes?
Oh, it's a little minutes there, sorry. Approval of the minutes from the 28th, February 28th, 23. Is there a motion or a discussion?
I'll move the minutes.
Second. Okay. Ms. Bills? Yes. Mr. Cashmore?
Yes.
Chairman Cunningham?
I don't.
Vice Chairman DeSalle?
Here. Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. Lexstein?
Yes.
Mr. Zalina?
Yes. On to the resolution amended application, Michael and Vicky Tableman, 6 Willow Way. What was the date of that?
This is the same meeting, Mr. Chairman, you were here.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a proposed change to that resolution. Not in the results, so Mr. Botsky doesn't have to be too worried about that. But in the third finding of, the first finding by the board, third finding of the board, it reads, the board finds that had the original application come before the board with the setback as now currently proposed, the same variance relief would have been supported, justified, and given. Now, I don't know if that's exactly 100% accurate. I know there was a lot of discussion at the time, during the board meeting, that a few of us were concerned that had that application been brought originally with the variance relief requested, that we may have had issues with that. But because no one was really objecting to it, we had a whole discussion with Mr. Largy about that. And we did feel the applicant made its case to allow what was there to remain. So I just want that reflected in the resolution. I think it's more appropriate. So my suggestion is that language read, the board finds that to have the original application come before the board with the setback that is now currently proposed, it may not have approved same. However, based upon the testimony presented, including that of the applicant's neighbor who did not object to the new proposal, the board finds the new variance relief can be supported, justified, and given.
I agree with you, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay. It may not have. We don't know, because they never put on that case. You know, we didn't hear that originally the first time around. So we only have it in the hindsight of the second case.
And what was discussed, we never discussed it. We did finish it, but it may have.
Right, and that's what it may not. It may not have.
It may not have.
So if everyone's okay with that, I would move the resolution with that one amendment.
Second.
Would you email me that?
I am giving you, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Bills? Yes. Mr. Cashmore?
Yes.
Chairman Cunningham?
Abstain.
Vice Chairman DeSeo?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. Lexstein?
Yes.
Mr. Zelina?
Yes.
On to 16 Via Ripa properties. 16 Via Ripa, Block 31, Lot 6. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, before the applicant begins on this application, just a moment of clarification. There was some confusion in the two review letters as to whether or not there is a height variance or not. And I just was wondering if our professionals should just fill this in, because our letters did not agree. I just want to know.
Right, so it is a 3-story structure they're proposing, so they need a height variance for the number of stories.
But it's not a D variance.
Correct, it's not a D variance. A D6 variance for height is when the height exceeds 10 feet or 10% of what's permitted in the zone. And this is just 3 stories versus 2.5, so it's just a C variance.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I did not mention it in my letter at all, because I knew there would be a plenty of stuff.
Okay.
I also saw somewhere that the building height proposed was 38 feet, where a maximum of 35 feet is permitted. Is that correct?
So, Seabright's flood damage prevention ordinance requires 3 feet of freeboard, and if the applicant has built their structure to the flood damage prevention ordinance, they are allowed to go up to 38.
Thank you.
The one mention that Jen made in her comment was that there was no notice of the base
Right, the
elevation
architectural
of the building.
Yeah, the architectural plans, I don't think they indicated what the height was, of, you know, what the starting point was basically.
Right.
So I think that's hopefully something we'll hear some testimony about from that.
I'm sure you're ready too.
We'll hear from Mr. Condor. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Rick Brodsky on behalf of the applicant, 16 Via Ripa Properties, LLC.
Oh, yeah, before you go on, I just want to clarify for the record that the notices have been reviewed by Ms. Mitchell and myself, and everything is found to be in order. Does any member of the public here tonight have any concerns about specifically just the content of what was in the notice before we proceed? Okay, so nobody? Mr. Brodsky?
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Rick Brodsky on behalf of the applicant. The application before you this evening pertains to the existing two-family structure and residential structure located at 16 Via Ripa here in your R2 zone. The application basically proposes to demolish the existing two-family home and replace it with a new two-family. What brings us here this evening is obviously it's the R2 zone, two-family is not a permitted use in the zone. So that does require a D1 variance. And you'll hear testimony on that. There are also a couple of bulk variances with respect to setback, front setback on, it's a through street, a through lot, and goes through from Via Ripley to south way. So there's a front setback variance necessitated on both sides. You know, it's not a deep lot, and so and you'll see as we go through the testimony. There also is a proposed building coverage variance of 56% or 50% is permitted, and the height where we have a technical 3-story where 2.5 is permitted based on the ordinance definition. You'll hear as we go through the testimony, we are improving what the proposal seeks to improve both aesthetically. I mean, the existing structure is, is showing its age, and what's proposed, bless you, is a new, brand new, functionally and aesthetically superior to that which exists today. Also, a big improvement on the side setbacks. The current house is located all the way on one side, and it'll be more centered so that there'll be no setback relief required. We're proposing to add garages to both of the each of the two-family residences, which does not exist today. So we'll be able to have 4 on-site parking spaces to service the existing proposed home. Mr. and Mrs. Schnabel, who are here this evening, currently reside at the property and intend to continue to do so, and you'll hear from that. You'll hear from them. The 2 stories is proposed at this point primarily for father-in-law, who's actually here this evening, and other family members. No present intentions to rent it out.
A 2-story or a 2-family?
Two-family. Did I say story? I meant and so, unless the board has questions, what I'd like to do is, I have with me this evening the architect, Tony Kondoris. I also have the owner of residence, the Schnabels, and I also have professional planner Jim Higgins to speak to you about the variances associated with the application. So, if we could, let's have Mr. Kondoris step up, get him sworn.
As we're doing that, I just want to mark into the record certain exhibits. PB1 is a zoning permit denial dated October 19, 2022. PB2 is the application package from Rick Brodsky dated December 19, 2022. PB3 is a packet of 14 photographs taken on December 2nd, 2022, showing different properties. PB4 is a plan of survey of the property by Russell S. Kaufman, PLS, dated August 27, 2021. PB5 is architectural plans entitled Via Ripley Properties LLC, prepared by Anthony Kondoris Architect, Inc., dated October 17, 2022, consisting of 4 sheets. PB6 is an engineering review letter by Hoder Associates Consulting Engineers, dated February 2nd, 2023. I do not have the Avakian review letter. Could you give me the date of that letter?
February 28th.
Okay, PB7 will be a planning review letter by Avakian Associates dated, what was that again?
February 28th.
February 28th, 2023. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
State your name.
Anthony Kondoris.
And spell your last name, please.
Condouris.
Mr. Gondorz has testified before this board many times. Without objection from the board members, we'll accept his credentials.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. All right, Tony, if you would, I guess, I see you have on the board, is that an exact copy?
This is the exact, yeah, this is what it already has.
Okay, so already been marked as PB5. Referring to that, if you could just walk the board through the property as it exists today, and then what's proposed as part of the application.
Okay, so what you see here on our site plan is Via Ripper runs along the bottom of the page and Southway runs along the top. So currently, if you look at the light dashed line that's to the west of the property, that is the existing house. And you can see that it's very close to the property line on the right side. So it's kind of squeezed to one side of the property. So that building will be coming down. It's currently a two-family home. So the intent was to, rather than try to pick that house up and bring it up to date and repair it, and it's still going to be the same outdated house, in need of repair, and it's really close to the property line. So the approach was, let's see if we can take that down and build a brand new structure that's up to code and is more compliant with the setbacks and just a better overall project. So that was the approach here. So we are asking for a couple variances. Obviously, the two-family status is the big one, but there are some bulk variances. We're meeting the side setbacks. We do have some front setback variances. On the Via Rippa side, we have 9 feet where 25 feet is required.
What was it before?
14.1 exists today.
Thank you. And we have, on the Southway side, we have 5 feet where 25 feet is required. So it has 2 front setbacks because it's on.
But the back was, it says here it was originally 9'9". The plan shows 5.
That's the new house. The new house is 5.
Right, but it said the existing house was 9.9. I mean,
Yeah, now it's 5.
but the dotted line here shows 5. Didn't you say the dotted line?
Well, there's 2 dash lines. I'm sorry. There's another dash line that's kind of a little more faint. That's sort of near that, and one dash line shows the setbacks.
Southway side.
Right there.
Yeah, okay.
The 5 is the actual. Yeah, we probably should.
So the existing house was 9'9" from the property line, and
Yes.
moving it back to only be 5 foot from the property line.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
And
Yes.
how does that,
This shows the old as 10.
how does that fall in with the average of the street?
Well, we didn't take the average, but most of the houses on the Southway side, or some of them are even closer. You can see adjacent, right here, adjacent to this house, to the east. There's a porch that's probably about 6 feet from the property line, and then
But that's just a deck.
yeah, porch deck. Yeah, okay, right. But if you look at the arrow, I don't have the arrow unfortunately, but there are a lot of the houses are very close to the Southway property line.
So usually the argument to go so close to the property line would be that it would be consistent with the houses on the rest of the block.
Correct.
Yeah. Jim Higgins is going to talk about that for sure.
All right, we'll wait for that.
Okay. And we also have an area. That's right.
Okay. Just to go through the plan a little bit here, so it's a two-family home. As Mr. Brodsky mentioned, the homeowners, they intend to reside here, and the real intention of the two-family is more for family members to come, but they certainly want to try to maintain the two-family status. So, but if you look at on sheet B2, I have 2 garages, one facing Via Rippa, one facing south. So 4 cars can easily park under this building. Each side has its own separate entrance. And the larger of the apartments faces Via Rippa, and then the smaller one faces South Street, obviously. We have an elevator that has the opportunity to be shared, but it's really more to service the main apartment. So on the second floor, we have 3 bedrooms for the larger apartment, 2 bedrooms for the smaller apartment. And then on the 3rd floor, or 3rd story, I guess we need to call it, that would be the master bedroom. And that is servicing the larger apartment. The balance of that is a roof deck. And you can kind of see on the cover sheet, this artist rendering on the South Street side. You can see the roof deck in the back there. And this third story is actually contained under sloped roofs for the most part, so it does still give the impression of a half story.
Do both units have a roof deck or just the larger one?
Just the larger one, yes. We also have a deck that runs along the side here, which is actually accounting for a lot of the extra building coverage is really being created by that deck. Because we have to count the deck because it's higher than 18 inches.
And Tony, if you could just talk about that 2.5 versus 3-story distinction and how it bears out on the plan.
Yeah, so the definition, it still always confuses me, and I've never seemed to interpret it right, but it says that at least 2 walls have to have a wall height of, or a maximum wall height of 2 feet. So if you, I'm sorry, let me go to the elevation here.
Just for the next one. What is it, a half story versus a whole?
So if you look at the elevations, the third floor room is tucked under basically 4 gable roofs. There is one spot over here where it does kick up. That's where the elevator comes up. But it is sort of contained under these gable roofs. And of course, on the front, there's a balcony coming out, and on the rear, you have an entrance to go to the roof deck. But that little extra kick that you have there is for the elevator.
The reason behind that 2-foot wall, which I was part of coming up with, was in order for the architect to design a house that had a lower pitch, to create a lower ridge. By going all the way down to the plate, you're creating a higher ridge. And if you look at your side plan there, you're 38 feet to what's considered our height calculation. But if you go all the way up to the ridge, it goes up to 45.6 feet.
Right. That's, yeah, well, the height, you can go to the mean roof, so you
Right.
kind of does.
But what I'm saying is the theory behind those little walls was so you didn't have to go so high with the ridge. This house is going to be 45 feet 6 inches high, where most of the houses, the highest we ever go is 42. You have 14 feet from the floor to the top. I measured it out.
Right. Okay.
You created such a tall house amongst a neighborhood of much smaller houses.
Now, if its top story was changed to a half story that was consistent with the ordinance definition, would that do to the height?
Well,
The height, the
Mr. Caseo was saying was if we lift up the walls on the side, we could possibly drop the ridge and get the same amount of room upstairs. So I could look into that, of course. Can't do it here, but.
Purpose of that would be
To drop the ridge, right? Drop the ridge to slope.
Well, the problem you're going to come across is going to be the elevator then.
Well, that and also what's going to happen is.
The elevator itself could be
It moves into that, and close to
the
the
end of the house and back, and it could stick up a little bit.
Yeah, the other thing too is if I raise the fascia, it's going to change my mean roof height. So however high I raise the fascia, I'm going to have to drop the ridge. And I don't know if we're going to get more room out of it.
Is that going to be cathedral ceilings upstairs?
Well, the room is kind of like a finished attic situation, so part of the room is going to have low walls.
But I mean, are they going to utilize that as a cathedral ceiling in there? Because that'll be 14-foot height.
Not necessarily, we haven't talked about that yet. Probably we just have collar ties.
And then, Tony, with regard to the setbacks, I know, was that just from a design perspective? In other words, why we're requesting these?
Well, what
variances?
Yeah, what really drove that was the fact that we had two opposite-facing garages, and they need to be the proper depth. So that kind of drove some of the depth of the house.
Right.
So then so you're making in order to accommodate that in 2 garages, you have to make the side yard, the front yard that have worse than they were?
Because he wants to get 4 cars.
Oh, I understand.
He wants to get 2 cars.
You want 4, yeah.
Which is the nature of the fact that it's a 2-family home, which is dictating the 2 garages.
Right.
Okay.
But he says he can put 4 cars in
I
there, 4
understand.
cars in there.
Yeah.
If he shortened the house, he'd only be able to put 1 car in each
I
garage.
understand. Right. But if it was a 2-family house, you really need the 2 garages.
He wouldn't need 8 spots, he'd only need 4.
Right.
Well, let me just clarify. These are only 2, it's 4 spots, right? 2 in each garage.
2 in each garage.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the garage is 26 feet around.
Well, that would only fit 1 car.
Right, 20 foot would be a
I
garage.
mean, it's 1 car length.
Regardless, my point stays the same.
Yeah.
That it was a 1-family house, you wouldn't have that issue. Right.
I guess, could you just talk a little bit, because there seems to be at least on the garage floor and the first floor, doors to go back and forth between the 2 units.
Like this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would be something where the homeowner would, at his discretion, at their discretion, either lock that but it's just a way to have access if it's needed.
So.
Well, it's also in case somebody here needs to use the elevator.
So it could function as one larger house or 2 separate spaces. Yes.
And
would the laundry facilities be shared, or would that be up to the homeowner's discretion?
No, there's a laundry actually in both. It probably isn't that clear, but this is the laundry room for the main apartment. There's a stackable,
Okay.
which I didn't label as a laundry, so maybe it's laundry.
So, I'm sorry, so then, are these interiors connected or not?
Yeah.
Confused.
They have a door between them, but again, the homeowner would have the discretion of whether or not he locks that or not.
Okay, so the second home is not, if it is sold to 2 different people or 2 different completely unrelated residents as a 2-family home, then one side is completely segregated from the other. If the primary homeowner,
Yeah, if the primary homeowner decides, they would lock that door.
Yeah, and it's designed this way because the present intention is for family. And that's the way they've been using it now, is for family. But maintaining the option in the future to rent it to non-family.
can I ask you, just for housekeeping purposes, who's the owner of the property?
Well, it's an LLC form, the members of which are Mr. and Mrs. Schneebel.
All right, but they don't own it in their name, they own it in the name of an LLC.
They own it in the name of the LLC and they live there.
Okay.
I mean, part-time.
Part-time. Their primary residence is up in Hoboken?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, regarding the base flood, I don't have the numbers with me, but this first floor is going to be around 16 feet, which is, I think 11 is required, so we'll be above the 3-foot freeboard.
It's 11 plus 3, so.
So 14 is required, we're going to be
Here
here
at 16.
between 15 and 16.
But you can revise the plans to show. the
I will, I'll get the exact number.
That have each floor
Yes,
elevation, then we'll know what it is.
yes.
Is your intent to put all the mechanicals above the flood elevation also?
Yes, it would be.
And so can you describe, I don't know if you're the right person, but can you describe the current house for us?
I was only at one, so
I didn't see, we actually have pictures of it.
Yeah.
We have pictures of other houses.
it's actually similar. There's an apartment on one side, there's an apartment on the River side, and there's an apartment on the southwest.
So, sorry, just to go back a minute, you said that, all the utilities will be raised, where do you intend to put, like, air conditioning?
But yes, they would be on probably the side here, where there's decks, which are
Will they be on the deck?
possibly on the roof then too.
Okay,
Condensers, yeah.
I'm sorry, back to my question. Is there something going to tell us about the existing house?
I think the homeowners would be the best.
The homeowners would be the best.
Knowing that the intent was to be knocked down, I didn't do a big study.
No.
We submitted a bunch of photos.
Yeah, no, I see it, but they're not identified as to what they are.
Oh, I see.
And the only reason I'm wondering is, I'm presuming what the architect, maybe Mr. Higgins, I don't want to presume on Mr. Higgins' testimony, that is one of his standards for why it's not particularly suited for this use is because of the fact that there's currently a two-family house on the property.
Yeah.
And I think therefore it's a little bit important to know what goes on there right now, so that we're not comparing, I mean, are we comparing apples to apples? We're comparing apples to oranges from what's there now? I'd just like to have some idea of what we're actually being asked to exchange for. Okay. I'm also interested in, when we get to that point, if anyone has any idea as to when that original or how that original two-family came to existence. If anyone has done any homework on that, do we know?
I don't. I suppose we can make.
Yeah, I mean, to the naked eye, and driving by, it's like somebody just stuck something on the back of the house and opened it up and decided what people live in. That's what it looks like. And I wonder if they ever received use variance approval to do that in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, they purchased,
In 2021.
yeah, September of 21, so we have to go, maybe do a,
I'm just curious, because they're going to use that as part of the argument.
yeah, no, we'd have to do a public records request.
But I'm only, yeah, as I always say, I'm only one person sitting up here. So that's not interesting.
I get it.
Is it taxed presently as a two-family house?
Yes.
Yeah, it's listed in the mod 4 for two-family, and the CO is for a two-family.
Which of course doesn't mean that it has zoning.
It's to,
Understood.
utilities.
Yeah.
And we can't have it, there are people talking to the audience.
You want me to,
Yeah, well, why don't we, once Anthony's finished with his testimony, perhaps you can bring the owner up and answer Mark's questions.
Yeah, I don't have anything further.
anything else for Tony? He's not going anywhere. For the moment.
Is there anyone in the public that has a question about the testimony Mr. Conduras
And folks, this is going to be only questions about the testimony you just heard.
Please state your name for the
My
record.
name is Dave Sheridan. I live on Vega River, 2 doors up. My question is about the back, where you have the setback. It's now 9'9".
Right.
Almost 10.
The existing is 9'9".
Yes. You're proposing making that 5,
Correct.
which is probably the smallest setback of any house on the street. And if you're looking for parking, all they have to do is maintain what's there, park the cars on the back. It would be very easy to do.
Park the cars.
And the garage on the front,
You're saying get rid of the garage?
the garage on the front, you may not be able to get in and out of that garage. If somebody's parked across the street from that garage, you won't get a car. I'm telling you.
What do you say about the other garage?
The garage in the back's fine, you keep the setback and you can park the cars whole, like a number of us do that along the back. That would solve.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're
Do
saying.
you know where the garages are on the south way? You have two garages, right?
Yes.
If you maintain the setback that's there, which is always 10 feet,
Yeah.
you can put 5, probably 6 cars all in.
You mean literally like next to each other?
Sides, yes. And then 2 in the garage, so you could have more parking places and not worry about the front. Which
So you're saying pulling up facing the house all
You
around?
see how a couple of us do that.
Yeah.
Sir, this is for questions only when it comes time, because when it comes time for comment, we have to swear you in and all that. And so if you
I was
make
just curious about
comments, you
talking
can't do
about
that.
setback there.
But we'll get to you and you'll have a chance to discuss whatever you want, okay?
Question only?
You understood his point.
Sorry. I think, yeah, I got it. Thank you.
State your name, please.
Scott Baxter. Question on the height. Could you talk a little bit more about or how that compares to other homes on the block? And is that an appropriate time to ask that question?
Sure. It's about the height. He can tell you how high it is and what his plan is.
I want to know, like, compared to the new homes across the street, like, is 45 and a half feet? I didn't measure the rest of it. How does that compare to the rest of the block in terms of height? And I think that was a question before in terms of the setbacks too. How does that compare to the setbacks on it?
Yeah, I don't have that information at this time. But I didn't do a measurement or comparison. At this time.
But they're saying because that's important.
Yeah.
And then lastly, and if it's for another point, just like to understand more about the parking situation. How many spots will be lost? How many will be gained? How does that work in terms of overall parking spots for that neighborhood that is already underserved?
Well, the curb cut that would be required for both of these garages would be approximately 20 feet. So I guess one spot per street. I think
You would lose one spot per street.
Yeah, you lose. Yeah, well, a spot is about a parallel parking spot is probably about 20 feet. So, but I don't know where that compares. Is it? I don't know if it's striped. Is it striped over there? There's nothing. Okay. So, but in theory, a 20-foot wide drive would take one space.
How many off-street spots are gained?
4 total.
There's no off-street parking currently?
No, there is.
How much off-street is provided currently?
2.
They're gaining a net of 2 off-street spaces.
Correct.
Why do they?
There's two.
Because the house is taking up, the house is blocking those areas. Where are the 2 cars, where are the 2 spaces being picked up?
I don't know what configuration is now, but maybe we could ask about that when the one comes up.
Well, in theory, if you're losing 2 spaces because of the curb cut, right? One on each street, but we're picking up 2 spaces under the garage from each street, so it's a net gain of 2.
But there's very limited parking on both those streets now.
Yes.
It's very tight.
Well, again, we are creating more spaces with the garages.
Taking 2 away and adding 2 more.
Taking 2 away and adding 4.
Right. Yes, exactly.
2 away on the street. A net gain of 2.
A net gain of 2. 1 for each street.
Net gain of 2. I get it.
There's no parking on that street there.
Well, it looks like they parking on the side of the house.
That's
in
right.
this particular picture.
That's right.
And I took a ride down past it today, and there seems to be like a fairly open lot on one side of it, and that's where some of the expansions planned for.
Right.
We can ask the owner that. Anyone else in the public? A question about his testimony? If not, public portion is closed. Thank you.
Let's have Mr. Schnabel come up just for a moment. I just wanted you to respond to a couple of the board members' questions with regard to the existing home. So let's have you sworn in
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you shall give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your name, spell your last name for the record, please.
Eric Schnabel, SCHNA, B as in boy, OLK. My name is on the plaque in front of the City Hall. Howard Schnabel. My family's been in Seabright, Charlie back there, grew up here. The old racket court across the street. Hilda and Howard was doing that. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
So I just wanted the board had a number of questions with regard to the existing home, right? So you guys bought it back in September of 21.
Yeah.
Bought it as a 2-family.
Two-family.
You got it CO'd as a 2-family, but we don't have the history of the derivation of when it became a 2-family.
Don't know that. I know there were two separate residents when we bought it. There were a whole bunch of guys on one side and Patty on the other side. She was there for a while. But I do not know anything further than the people that live there. Right now, we just fixed it up just in Band-Aids. We were here last summer. We're going to be here again this year. And there are 2 separate utilities, and everything's set up as 2 boilers. Everything's double, so we're assuming it was there for a long time.
And what is the layout of the second? Why don't you describe the layout?
Sure. You have one entrance from Via Ripa, and that was on the first level, like half the first level, kitchen, everything separate, one bathroom, everything. It was totally independent. You would enter from the other side where these guys were from, would enter, and it's basically half of the first level, and then we'll go upstairs. They have like 3 or 4 bedrooms up there. So you have 2 different entrances.
So 16B has 3 bedrooms?
Yeah, I think that's the 4.
It's 4 and
Sorry, she can't talk. She's better. I'm more of a rambler. She's
Just bring her up.
I apologize.
Everything's got to be recorded.
It's my fault.
Let me just swear. Let's,
Sorry about
raise
that,
your right
guys.
hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you shall give will be the truth?
yes.
And state your name, spell your last name for the record.
Maureen Schnabel, SCHNABOLK.
Right, so how many did you say?
The front unit off of Via Ripa is a 2-bed, 1 bath, and the back unit off of Southway is a 4-bed, 1 bath.
4-bed, 1 bath. So the main house is both 2 bedrooms?
The one off of the front, we've been using the one off of the back, but yes, the one off the front currently is a 2 and 1.
So the one off of South
Via Ripa
South
is
is 2 stories.
So the one off the south is actually the larger.
Today it is, yes.
Today it is. But in the past, you think it probably was the other way around, because the house faces Via Ripa. I know you're guessing. I'm not.
I mean, as you said, it appears as though someone stuck an addition at some point.
Right.
So I believe at one point it was the Via Ripa side, but they had then added a wall interior. I'm not sure when that occurred.
And there's no way you have to go outside to get to the other house, or can you access it from the interior?
No, there is an interior door today. Our father-in-law lives with us, so that he has privacy, but we do.
Did you install it, or was it there when you bought it?
It was framed in there when we bought it.
Okay, so, right. All right, interesting. Thank you.
Classic old Seabright edition.
And then what I had stated earlier with regard to the use, right? You guys use one of the units, and you're currently using it for family, and that's the other unit for family members, and that's your intention. But you want to preserve the 2-story status, the 2-family status going forward. But you want to improve the aesthetics of the property and the functionality.
Yeah.
As opposed to just raising what's there.
You got it. An elevator so you can go up, you can't walk very well.
Why don't you want to just make it a 1 family? I mean, it's your dad. Well, why would you, or your dad, I'm sorry.
No,
It's your dad. Why don't we just make it a 1 family and 4?
No, I don't want to. I want to keep the 2 family. I mean, originally I was just going to do, I was told I can lift it and keep the footprint and just make it nicer, but then I was like, it doesn't look, it's going to look ugly. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it right. I'll do the right code, do this and make it look as aesthetically pleasing. I mean, I do like green space. We're going to keep some green space, but it's a big lot. So I want to take advantage of it.
It's a big house. It's a big house and it doesn't conform because it's not permitted.
Yeah. There's a big house next to us. You know that, right? So
Is it a 2-family house?
it's
Yes.
maybe 3.
I think it's 4 family.
I think it's a 4 family. You know that.
Oh, I think that's an older house.
Yeah, that's.
They're both are the same.
It's 3.
It's 3?
It was 3, and it got flooded out of the bottom.
It did?
It was my family, so.
Oh, no.
Years ago.
Again, we can't have comments from the.
Sorry.
You say you want to do it right, so why don't you do it right and meet all the setbacks? You say it's doing right.
I need an elevator. Certain things I need.
No,
for
for instance, there's a 25-foot front yard setback, and you're not meeting on either street.
If
you were to do that, you could have a driveway and park cars in the driveway.
I'll take it advice. I don't know.
And you can have an elevator if he does it right too. There's no prohibition.
I defer to our planner because, we're conforming to everyone's setback. Everyone has almost 80% of this lot coverage on our block. Again, I don't want to use up numbers I don't know, but I'd rather wait for the planner to testify.
How many of those houses are newly built? So you have a chance to do it right now. You say you want to do it right. You want to take what's old, do it new, so you can do it right. Or you're not doing it right in the sense that you're not respecting the setbacks, or the coverage, or anything else. So,
or the permitted uses.
All right.
It's a pre-existing use, so.
It's pre-existing. By the way, there's multi-family on that block.
Yeah,
There's plenty of it on the block.
Well, I don't know if it's new construction. I mean, listen, we just recently, I mean, he's gonna have to deal with it. I mean, we just recently redid the master plan, and we decided, I don't think we're allowed 2 families anywhere in town under the new master plan.
And we changed the north down to R1 to eliminate the subdivisions.
I mean, we just did that a few years back, so this isn't like something that we're not paying attention to in town. And I fail to understand the logic. It's us and my dad, so we need a 2-family home. I don't understand that logic.
In our code, it also states that if you demolish a house down to the ground, the new house must conform with the.
Of course, no, that's why we need to
codes of zoning of the master plan. So not much of this is compliance.
I just make one quick comment. If we did meet the 25-foot setbacks on both streets, we'd be left with 20 feet because it's only a 7-foot lot. So that would be a pretty big hardship.
Or perhaps you could compromise it there on one side, so you could have driveways where you can park additional. Parking is a huge problem in this town, we know we're not. So, and I didn't get a chance to answer your questions, but I didn't see any storage space on your plans. So where do you keep the bicycles, the beach stuff, and all that stuff? You put it in the garage. You put it in the garage, now where are you going to park? So there's a lot of things that you're not doing, in my opinion, and you're not that. You're not doing it right, but I want to flush it out now. When we get a chance. So, meeting on one side is better than not meeting at all, in my opinion. Right now, you don't meet it on either.
Where do they park now? On the one side that's wide open?
On the Southway side, there's essentially a
Is there a
curb
cutout?
cut. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. You said it's an undersized lot?
No. I said if you, it's a 70-foot deep lot, but if you met the 25-foot setbacks on both sides, you only have 20 feet left.
All right, well, that's because of the house we designed. But
No. Responding to the comment from Mr. Zelina that meet the 25-foot setbacks, if we did that, there'd only be a 20-foot house left.
Oh, I hear, okay, I'm sorry, I understand what you're saying, because it is an oversized lot.
Yeah.
You do have more area than required, you have the proper width, you have more width. The lot width is what's required already, and lot depth, you're deeper than what's required, so.
Right, the other thing is, it fronts on 2 streets, so we don't have the benefit of the rear
You
lot.
definitely have a beautiful single family.
You have a very nice single family house on that property. I mean, the one thing I'll easily say, you picked the right architect. I mean, Anthony is one of the best architects out there. He designed one hell of a house, and he did so here as well. So it's a very, very nice house.
But
And it'd be just as nice a house if it was a single family house and used to it.
if you adhere to at least one of the setbacks of 25 feet, you could also consider hardship for the rear lot and get a variance on that, rather than using the whole lot.
Can you point out, I don't see utilities anywhere,
Like
air conditioning.
Well, yeah, we would talk. Yeah, we would have them. We have this deck on the side here, which would comply with the setback. We also have room on the roof deck.
So your intent would be to put it either on the deck or on the roof?
Correct. Yeah.
I think what turns me off on this plan is the fact that you're actually creating 2 townhouses stuck together. This isn't a 2-family house where you have a resident and a little apartment next to it. This is like a full-blown double townhouse.
We did try to maintain the same bedroom count. I will say that.
Anthony,
Hold on, I'll see, just a minute.
are you so long?
There's 5 bedrooms in one and 2 in the other. There's 7 bedrooms in the house.
Wait a minute.
What's it, 3, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms?
He currently has 6 bedrooms.
Yeah, there's 3 on the main level of the main apartment, and then the master bedroom's on top. So that's 4. So it's 4 and 2.
2 is 6.
They have 4,
Right.
They have 4 and 2 there.
I would use just 4 bedrooms in that house. 6 bedrooms, I think must be
Well,
12.
that's right up here at the front, but the back would have to be jam-packed. That little back section.
Closet right there. All right, who's next?
Anthony, what is the standard depth of the garage, and what is the depth of these garages?
Yeah,
Well, you can go as low as 18 feet with a garage, right? But there's not really no room around the car when you do that, right? So we usually try to get 22. One of the reasons the main garage is a little deeper is we did want some storage space toward the back, like where the elevator comes out here. So this back was sort of where you put hopefully your bicycles and things like that.
And how deep is that garage?
That one is 26.
So you're basically 8 feet beyond what the standard garage would.
Well, I wouldn't call it 18 feet a standard garage, at least functionally.
What's the standard garage?
Well, in my practice, we always try to at least get 22. That's what we should get. So
you have 6 feet then?
Well, we have 4 extra feet here.
4 feet.
And then another, this is 20, this one's 22. 22 feet.
Okay. So you have some areas.
Yes.
Did you have other questions of their testimony? Because, I mean, we've been asking most of the
Well,
questions.
no, I really brought them up to answer questions.
Okay. I didn't want to open them to the public
absolutely. I did bring them up to answer questions, and we're hearing feedback.
Want to make sure you were getting your
valuable feedback for sure. And
So why don't we do that? I'd like to open each person that testifies to the public.
Of course.
And why don't we open it to the public? If there's anybody that has a question about their testimony, please, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Questions only.
Questions only. To clarify anything.
Yeah, but my question is along the lines of the council. If it's a two-family for just family, what made you put it in LLC?
That's just what.
I don't think has any relevance. Right?
That's
how they own the property.
Anybody can put a house in an LLC.
I understand that that has to do with intent.
Let's we're going to keep the questions about the application only.
And what their testimony was. You can ask that later if you want.
No, but I think it's fair enough to say, and for Sonny, just to be clear, this board does not care whether they're going to personally reside there or not. As far as we're concerned, they may as well be selling tomorrow.
Correct, that is not a factor for the board to consider.
I mean, we get told by every single person who ever comes in here that they're going to personally reside in the house. I mean, if we be rich, if we have coming out the house and they sell, I'm not saying that they're going to do that, because I'll take them at their word, but we don't pay any attention to that.
It's legally.
They've been here a long time.
Legally, yeah, right, you can say it better than I can.
It's not a factor that
It's not a factor, yeah.
whatsoever legally, so we don't really care about that.
I don't want to block away in an LLC. I put it in my kid's name and my wife's name in case I drop dead. It's simple. Anyone else in the public have a question about the testimony you just heard? If not, carry on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to do, Mr. Chair, if we could just take a break for a couple of minutes. I just want to, for 5 minutes before I bring Mr. Higgins up, because it may be, I just want to talk to the clients for a moment, if we could do that.
I don't know, anybody on the board have an issue with it? No. If not, we'll take a 5-minute break, okay? Meeting's adjourned for 5 minutes. 10 if you need. Somewhere between.
Do I hear another?
Somewhere between 6 and 8. Somewhere between 69 and 70. 68 and 70. That was the Saturday Night Live with Janet Jackson, and they had the wine group in Italy. They were and they were soaking corpse, putting bottles, the corpse up there. One of the funniest things ever on Saturday Night Live. Janet Jackson. Absolutely. Look it up. You're gonna die laughing.
Is there room on the bottom? Probably would be parking.
Okay, the board is back in session.
So back? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I had a chance to speak with the applicants who, by the way, are very, want to be good neighbors, want to be respectful of the board's comments, of the neighbors' concerns, the board's concerns. And so, and we just brainstorming with Tony, who's excellent, about possible ways we can address some of the concerns that we've heard, both from the board and the neighbors, and it seems to me it makes more sense and is more efficient to do that, right? To come back with a revised plan before I put up our planner's testimony. So he'll be talking about, he'll giving his planning testimony based on a revised plan. But if I could, I would ask the board if we could go just out of order a little bit, and just if we can just hear any other concerns that some of the neighbors may have, so we're cognizant of that when we're looking at a redesign.
Without objection from the board, anybody have a problem with that?
So my question in redesigning it, if you come back, can you give us the elevations of the existing homes?
We are, and setbacks, yes.
So this is still gonna be for a two-family?
Yes.
Are you sure you want to go through that exercise in light of the fact that you've heard a lot of people say they don't really want
Yeah.
two-family homes?
That'll be part of our analysis.
Okay. Gentlemen?
Anybody else? Let's open to the public. If you have questions or a statement about the application? Anybody? Yes, ma'am, please. Please say your name and address.
Joanne Sheridan, 5 Via Ripa.
5? All right, you're further up then?
Yes,
Okay.
we're right next to the house, next to this house.
Okay.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, this is the opposing concern. It's the two-family dwelling, which we don't see the real need for. Leon Arakian, I believe, was the consulting engineer for this project, and he clearly defines what is required for a variance and zoning. There's no proof that this is a better zoning alternative to the property. Secondly, the driveway issue, that actually would take away permit parking spaces on Via Ripa. So those are not random public parking, those are permitted parking for residents. That would take away very few spaces that we have available. And
I just want to make sure I understand. The public spaces you're saying are?
They're on Via Ripa.
I understand that, and those are, and the homeowners have the right to
Yes,
to use.
that's why we have permits.
Gotcha.
So if those go
So
away.
you would like no garages on this?
Correct, yes.
And have everyone park on the street?
Correct. Have everyone park in the back of the house.
So I'm sorry, so you'd be okay with the Southway garage, kind of how we have the
Yes,
park?
yes. Yes, but actually, there's a lot more maneuvering you could do if you were really there and knew how to park your cars. Beyond that, you know, we don't have any problem with a house that is built within the established guidelines that have been in place.
Pardon me for one second. Could I ask you to speak up a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I usually speak loud.
Joanne, why don't you come up and adjust to that, because the mic is right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Be back.
Okay, where was I? I was just saying that we're not opposed to the new construction. We're opposed to the zoning change. And any of the things that are existing or permitted are fine. So they just need to stay in the lane with all of these measures that are by the zoning board in place.
So your preference would be to have the existing house lifted, for example?
If that means they want their two-family and that's how they get it, that may be their option, but to demolish a home and build a home on steroids on that property, that's not beneficial to the neighborhood.
Right, so you prefer just having the existing home
If they
raised?
exist on a two-family, and that's how you get a two-family.
That would be your preference.
If you use the footprint, and that's what you have to do. I don't see that there's a necessity for two-family, based on the reasoning. Everybody can have a nice home together.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Judy Giroux, I live on 3 Via Ripa.
Spell your last name, please.
G-E-R-A-U-D.
And what's your address?
Number 3.
3 Via Ripa. Your hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give should be true?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Rusty, could you also just speak?
I
Only for the microphone.
So, I think all of our biggest concerns, as we stated, is the curb cut on Via Ripa. The burden on that street now that exists with the public access platform, and if we count the cars that are there with just the residents that are there year-round, we take up that whole south side of Via Ripa, which is, thank God, permit parking now. The summer is a battle. if there's an emergency on that street, the way people park, to overburden, to lose, that curb cut would essentially lose us 3 parking spaces on the front street. We can't afford to do that. And the back entrance of their house now has a pretty significant parking pad. And thank God you have that. But it seems like the parking can be accommodated on that southway side of the property. With the new construction behind us and all the curb cuts that you allowed, it's burdened us to an extreme that I can't even express to you. And, it's just sad what's happening. Somebody has to, it would be irresponsible to allow that. I really feel that way. I think we'll all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm Dave Sheridan, husband, live the same address, 5 Via Ripa.
Mr. Sheridan.
I definitely am opposed to
Before you begin, raise your right hand. Swear firm testimony you're about to give should be the truth.
Yes.
And it's Steve Sheridan, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Main concern at this point, after you have addressed a lot of my concerns, but to change the zoning to two-family, you've already addressed it. That shouldn't happen in this area. Increasing the density of any place in Seabright is wrong. So if you let that happen there on that street, and who knows who else is going to want to do the same thing to make multifamily homes.
Well, they're not asking to change the zoning. They're asking to continue a pre-existing.
They are asking to change the zoning.
Pre-existing non-conforming. That's a non-conforming use in that zone.
Oh, I thought you were changing the zoning to be two-family.
That doesn't change the zoning. It changes.
Okay, so they're just asking.
That's a pre-existing use, and they can continue that use.
No, that's no problem.
Yeah, but still, the zoning stays the same.
Okay, that's fine.
Wait a minute, no, just clarify this.
The existing use, the building that's there, is a two-family house, and the property owners may have the right to continue to use that structure as a two-family house. However,
that structure as it is.
If a property owner who has that situation in general wants to demolish that building and build a new building, that building has to conform to the zoning. And so if in this instance, the application is to demolish the existing two-family house and build a brand new two-family house, that requires a use variance approval. And that's what they're applying for.
So you don't have an automatic right to build a new house as a two-family house.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I thought you guys had put it out, so I'm just saying I'm objecting to having them do that, have that right to do that. If that's what I said, I'm not even sure what I said now, but.
I think you did a good job. Anyone else in the public? If not, the public portion is now closed. Mr. Brodsky?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we would
ask
like
for a continuance.
We would ask to continue the hearing, and Candace can help us out on.
Do you want to come in on the next meeting, the 28th?
The only problem is that they're gonna come up with a new application.
Yeah, no, that may not be enough.
Oh, is that a brand new application?
Not an application.
Have to be submitted by the 18th.
Yeah, what would be the next date?
And Richard, they're following the suggestions about parking from in the back of the house or the street or whatever. That would be a variance also, because you're not permitted to park in the setback. So if that's considered a setback, it'll show parking in the setback. That's another variance.
Yep.
The back into the garages under the house.
If it's not know what you're proposing is.
Yeah, I don't know yet, but I think 28th is probably
Too close.
too aggressive.
Then we have April
Somebody's
11th
sweating over there.
and April 20th.
That's the one computer. Doesn't draw.
Child's play.
Yeah.
He's got employees.
I can get it covered.
April 11th?
That works.
we lose you, right? Or can you come on April 11th if we needed to?
I mean, just because I love Rick. We'll figure something.
I don't want you to miss practice.
I know, it's heartbreaking.
I mean,
None of us,
yeah, none of us, but none of us want to lose you, but I just want to make sure everyone understands that you may not be here unless you're available.
Yeah, the plan was for me to leave my temporary post by, and the last meeting was to be March 28th. I can make an exception, you know, just for the sake of completing this application. I'm already halfway through.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
that actually takes a little heat off of us.
It does.
Yeah, but that's an exception.
Okay. It shouldn't be a problem.
I don't want to get fired from another day.
No, she's a more demanding boss.
Is it April 11th? Is it April 11th? Yeah.
So let the record show that this application will be carried with no further notice to the April 11th meeting. Tuesday, April 11th, with no further notice. So you won't hear anything, just show up if you want to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on.
He has visible wants to be board's decision.
I was jealous.
It's a very good possibility that
We were just talking, we're gonna come up with ways
variance and changes in variance. Nothing will be the same.
Well, let's see what they come back. You know, you're going to see and you're going to Rick. It's oh, meeting is not
Of course.
There's a concern of the engineer that if you're going to make major changes, you might be signing Okay, just so you're thank you. Okay, I guess I did want to take a moment.
You want to go to
We're still continuing our meeting, just so you guys might want to go outside and chit chat.
Everyone, excuse me, we're still in meeting.
I just wanted to know, let you all know as the chairman that we followed up on the search for a new attorney. And we received, I believe, 9 applicants. We went through all 9 applicants, spent a bunch of time on it, and we then chose 4 that we thought would be best to interview. We've interviewed all 4. We're down to 2. And we're just about finished discussing that, and usually by the next meeting we'll make a recommendation to the board to consider.
April 11th from action.
We'll have it. We were thinking we'd probably be on the 28th, just to still or at least discuss with the board.
Yeah. What I could do is send all my notes to whoever that is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, for the consideration.
Aside from that, that's all I wanted to just let you know that we're very close. We're really good applicants.
You're down to
There's a happy boy.
down to 2 applicants.
1 woman, 1 man.
So we are meeting March 28th to do the appointment.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need Kevin at that meeting? Or should we set Kevin free? Because that's going to be the only thing on the agenda.
I don't know if you legally need to, Kevin.
Well, we know. I mean, legally.
Can you meet without a?
Yeah, you can.
And that's the only thing on the 28th meeting?
So that would be the only
I just want to write Kevin out.
Do we flip the coin with that here, or do we? do it before?
We should probably meet without the attorney just to discuss, so we can give you our rationale, go through executive session. We'll discuss why we came to the conclusion we made, and then we can appoint them afterwards. Come back in the public and appoint them. That's my recommendation, anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We'll get your input.
We're not actually going to meet, though, you'll just, from what you've done, you'll give us your opinions.
If we all met with all of them, it would have taken a really long time.
Yeah.
But it was,
No, I'm saying we're not.
did a real good job by what you spent a lot of time with them.
We analyze online applications and limited it down to 4 that we like. And then
And that's down to 2.
And we present that our decision to you guys at that time. Let's have some objection.
And what do the rest of you feel? I mean, obviously, we're 3 people, so you either go with our recommendation, or do you want it, I can see, are you implying you want us to bring both of them?
Oh, no, I'm just curious, I trust your judgment, I'm just curious about the process, I just wanted to know the process.
Oh, no, that's our suggestion, is that we just will explain.
You'll present the 2 of them to us, and we'll agree, I guess, all on one of them.
No.
No, we're not, I'm not.
Or you're that's your final decision.
I would say we finish our decision and recommend a new attorney.
Well, and then we agree to that.
That's what you were proposing.
Okay, that's what we.
We have to vote.
But you have to vote, yeah, it's not us. If you wanted us to bring both of them in, and then the board could all ask them questions, then we could do that too, but I don't know.
Can't we decide that tonight, which procedure we're gonna follow?
Well, that's what happened.
Well, the procedure the committee was going forward with was to make a final decision between the last 2 people and recommend it to the entire board for a vote.
I have the utmost confidence in you guys, and I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that's what I said, I trust your decision, who you guys pick, we'll go back to the
The only outstanding thing right now is that we just wanted to check some references, and that's it.
And you guys can do that, but do we even need to meet on the 28th or whatever?
The only reason we should meet on the 28th is just to vote to actually put them in place. So that we can have them at the April 11th meeting, and make sure that.
We could do an executive session before the meeting?
You could, but the attorney might not feel comfortable until they're appointed doing the preliminary work to walk into the meeting.
Right.
He's gonna review all of his notes and.
Yes.
Well, we can get together for the 28th.
I know, and Mark, you know this too, but you don't believe anything until the vote takes place. Sometimes I've seen horror shows happen where, yeah. So I wouldn't trust it as a new attorney coming in until the vote is made.
And I'm sorry about the 11th, we're going to London and Paris, and I'm gonna be.
Oh, you can get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of those. Come on.
You're going to something that's nice.
Oh, you're coaching over there. You're coaching?
I might throw them into some soccer.
But I personally, Kevin, and I'm sure the whole board here, I want to thank you so much for doing this. You came in out of, my cold calling you and begging you to please come, and you did, and it's really been a pleasure working with you. It really has.
Same.
And I wish circumstances were different that you could stay. So.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. Well, is there any other business before the board this evening? Without objection, we'll go forward on making the decision and bringing it to the 28th meeting. Okay? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Since there is no one here left in the public, meeting adjourned.